Hey guys, and welcome back to Not Easy Being Geeky, the podcast where me, the host, Rachel, talks about nerdy shit. And today we're talking about comfort animes. Alright guys, so today I'm getting into it. I'm really excited because today we're talking about my comfort animes, and I have so many where I had to make an honorable mentions list because there were just so many. Me and Justin love comfort animes. They're something that we watch after like any shonen or actiony fantasy, whatever animes we're watching, horror, because we tend to binge anime. We really don't watch one episode unless it's a new episode kind of a thing. We tend to like to binge them. So we'll watch a few episodes at a time, which can be exhausting. So we like to watch like slice of life, comfort animes after those to kind of wind down from all the excitement of the other ones. So we love slice of life, comfort, romance. We love those. And so I had to make like an honorable mentions list based like just solely on the fact that we have so many that I couldn't condense into this one episode. I just kind of focused on my top 3, that I watch over and over again, because I couldn't not. And one of them I've already talked about in a previous episode, so I was like, I'm not gonna get into that one. So just I had to do a whole episode about this because I just love them so much, and they're just so good. So let's just get into it. The 3 I'm gonna be talking about today, the 3 main ones are gonna be Given, Skate the Infinity, and Fruits Basket. So where do I even start? I'm so excited. Given. So if you haven't seen Given, first off, I'm just gonna let you know we are a pro LGBT channel. We love the community. In fact, I am part of it. So if you're not cool with that, you're not gonna like some of these animes. Just letting you know that now. And if you're not cool with that, get the fuck off my podcast. Just letting you know that now. So Given is a boy love anime, and it focuses on this band that kind of forms together out of a friendship kind of randomly. And it's a progression of their improvement together as a band, as well as forming connections within that band. You kind of don't pick up on it until later that this is a romance anime. It's not like in your face from the beginning. It's very subtle progression, and it's so good. I would have never even known about this anime had my best friend not told me to watch it. So thank you, Faith. I really appreciate that. And now it's kind of like our thing. We have like these animes that are like our things where we constantly reference them, and are like Given and Skate the Infinity are 2 of those. So I had to talk about them. They're something that really hold a special place in my heart because they remind me of my best friend. So I had to talk about them. So Given, with this band, you get these 4 main characters of this band. And what's so awesome about this anime is that it comes to like this point where they're at this show where they're playing, and it comes to that point of the anime, the climax that you've been waiting for this entire anime, to this one point where they're playing at the show, and you're kind of on pins and needles this whole time. Like, oh God, I hope they don't fuck this up. I hope it's really good. And it's fucking phenomenal. First off, I just have to mention how fucking phenomenal the music is in this anime throughout all of it. As soon as I finished this anime, I looked for the soundtrack and just downloaded the whole fucking thing because it was so good. And there's only 12 episodes, so you can easily binge it. And after those episodes, there's an OVA, which if you don't know what an OVA is, I've explained it before, but if you don't know what an OVA is essentially a movie that does not go to the theaters. It goes straight to streaming services. That is usually not as long as a full-length movie either. It's about like usually an hour and a half to an hour long. So usually it's like 2 episodes worth of length. But it's to usually wrap up the story or project it into the next season, which honestly, the way it ends, I think it's it does not need anymore. I loved the series. I watch it over and over again, and I literally have that song on loop sometimes because it's just so good. But I did have to address something because the first time I watched it, I watched it in sub, which they did not even have the dub out at the time. It just recently got the dub. And so I had started hearing a lot of like people were, I was really excited to actually watch it because they had an amazing cast of voice actors that are very good. And so I was like, wow, they really put a lot of thought into the cast behind this one, which is really great, you know? And so as I'm hearing about this, like, thanks TikTok, you guys keep me very informed in the anime community. I really appreciate you guys. So when I started to hear about this, when it finally, they were releasing the episodes weekly, just like, you know, the normal anime would when it was releasing. And so when the dub was coming out, when they got to the episode, which is the song, I don't want to give you guys a spoiler, but it's a very, very raw, emotional song. And so I was thinking this too. I was like, are they going to dub the song? Are they going to have them sing it in English, or what are they going to do? Are they just going to put subtitles on this? I had no clue what was going to happen. And then the shit hit the fan apparently, because when that episode came out, they did keep the original sub version of the song, but apparently on Crunchyroll, I don't know if it was different on other streaming services, but apparently on Crunchyroll, they did not put the subtitles up. So no one even knew what the fuck he was saying in the song. And that's literally the whole, I cannot stress this enough. This point is the entire meaning of this story. Like, this leads up to the climax. It is the most important part of the series. And so to not have any context of the song, you get the glimpses, yes, of like what it's about. But if you don't see the words, if you don't know what the fuck he's saying, it does not hit the same. So I was in utter shock, and I'm sure a lot of other people who are fans who also watched the dub were extremely disappointed to find out that the most important part of the anime essentially gets pushed to the side. And so people who have never seen it before, who are watching it waiting for the dub, they're not going to see the significance of this moment and probably going to be like, oh, it was okay. When it's like the whole point of this anime is this song. And so I was like really shocked that happened. I don't know if it's different now, if they've updated it. I really don't know. Please let me know, guys. I never had interest in watching the dub. I'm sorry, because I just really loved the sub, so I had no interest in watching it. If you guys want me to, if it was really good, I'm down to watch it, but only if they've fixed that part, because again, I can't stress this enough. I don't think it'll hit the same if you don't know what he's saying. So to the point of that is that people who have watched it before were like telling the people who watched the dub, no, go watch just the sub version of just this episode then, because you will not understand like why this is so significant if you don't know what the song's about. So people were having to essentially swap over to the dub just for that one episode, which to me was like, why? So even if people were putting the subtitles on, it wasn't a thing. Like, it just was not, you couldn't put subtitles. I don't know why it wasn't working. I don't know why, but it was like a huge fail on that part. So that's extremely disappointing.
It's like Crunchyroll messed something up or something.
Yeah, I will say that after my rant about Crunchyroll's mistakes, I have noticed they've fixed a good portion of them, like the lagging shit that beyond fucking pissed me the fuck off with like anytime you pause the episode, it was like it went to shit and you couldn't fix it. You'd have to like exit out of the app, restart it all. I'd have to like turn off my Switch and everything. It was horrible. I fucking hated it. They fixed that now, so thank you.
It was the show's episode where Rachel talked about that ultimately changed Crunchyroll's mind.
I think so. I don't think that was the case. I mean, I can hope. I doubt I had that much of an influence. That Crunchyroll was like, oh my god, this one really tiny podcaster, they were talking so much shit on us. We have to improve everything. Man, No, I doubt that. I'm not even on Crunchyroll's radar. They're like, who? It's what's that show that we love? Oh my god. Arrested Development. Her? Really? Her? There's always money in the banana stand. Anyway, sorry, I went off on a tangent because I thought on Crunchyroll actually knowing who the fuck I was. Uh, so in Given, that moment with the song, it's a huge turning point in the anime to where it's extremely vital to it. To me, it does not hit the same if you don't know what the fuck's going on in that moment. So they dropped the ball there. I don't know if it's been fixed. I hope it's been fixed. I hope you can enjoy it. Highly recommend this anime if you haven't seen it. I don't want to give too many spoilers for these if you haven't watched them, but you guys know if you're listening to my podcast, I do spoilers. So, then in the OVA, I loved how they did this anime because there are essentially two love stories going on with the 4 bandmates. 2 of the bandmates are in their own kind of thing, and then 2 of the other bandmates are kind of in their own other world. But they all come together and are just have a good solid friendship. But you don't realize that there's 2 separate love stories going on in this moment in this band. And they do such a good job of like showing a glimpse of both couples. But the majority of the anime is focused on brain fart. Mafuyu and Uyonama. And that's their love story. And then the OVA focuses on brain fart. Kaji and Haruki. And so I had to look at my notes, sorry. So it focuses on them in the OVA. They are my favorite characters. Both me and my best friend are like, no. While I love Given, like the series, the OVA was what I was like hoping for. Cause I'm like, are my boys ever gonna get together? Cause they show you such a tiny glimpse of it. And you're like rooting for them the whole time because their love story, it's very sad actually, because Kaji, he's kind of like this rough exterior, and been hurt a lot, had to do a lot of fucked up shit to just survive, essentially, and was in this very toxic relationship where they were bringing out essentially the worst in each other, and the other guy essentially just did not give a single fuck about him in reality when you really dig deep into it. He was kind of just using him, essentially, which is so sad because Kaji really loved him and was so inspired by him, but this guy just didn't really give a single fuck, and realized that they aren't good for each other. And so Kaji, he's you seeing him throughout the anime and you're getting glimpses of like, man, he has had this really shitty life where he's essentially had to prostitute himself just to survive. He would give himself up just to have a place to stay, which is so sad. And when you're seeing this, Haruki is like completely unaware of a lot of this, and he's just like, why, like, let me help you, let me do this stuff for you, whatever, and just has always had like this little crush on him, but like never he's very, very shy and kind of reserved, very sweet. And so in the OVA, I love it so much because Haruki is completely oblivious to like so many things that Kaji is doing, to the point where he kind of is like, man, this guy has no interest in me. I feel kind of stupid for, trying so hard and like putting myself out there. And then come to find out, spoiler, I'm going to do a huge spoiler with this one, that Kaji was like working so hard and like ignoring him for months to essentially become a better person that was worthy of Haruki's love. That's what? Like, that's so fucking good. I love it. The hurt. And it comes to this moment and you're just like, dude, and you finally get like this glimpse of like the reality is that he wasn't ignoring him to like hurt him. He was trying to like, he didn't want to bring him into this shit world. He wanted to better himself before he gave himself fully to this person because he's like, I can't risk something so good and real and like true love while I'm in this shitty state in my life because I don't want to risk this person getting hurt or anything like that or having any bad come into their life because I don't have my shit together yet. Man, it just comes to this moment where it's like it's so good. I love it so much and they're my favorite. I love it so much. So highly recommend. Cannot say enough good things about Given. Also, I have to point out the cringiest moment in the anime. I don't know if I did or not, but I can't even remember if I did. If I didn't, I'm sorry. I have to talk about it. I have to talk about it more in depth if I haven't. There is this moment in the series that everyone who has ever watched it knows exactly what the fuck I'm going to talk about. It is the moment where you hear Uyanama like sing for the first time, and it is so cringy. And apparently it's just as cringy, if not more cringy in the dub. But I'm going to tell you why it's important and why it works. And why if it wasn't cringy, that song would not hit as hard. Because in that moment, this is someone who has no experience singing, no realization of their talent at all. And so it's gonna be not perfect. They have no vocal training. They have no semblance of music whatsoever. They kind of got piqued into this interest of music haphazardly and randomly. So they have no sense of any musicality at all. No previous training at all. And so you're hearing this from the first time, and you're like, damn, that's really cringy because it kind of sucks. But it's not that he sucks. It's that he has no experience with it. And he develops that talent as they practice. And so if you don't have that cringy moment, that moment where he actually sings and like belts out everything and it's beautiful, it would not hit as hard. Because I feel like if you had heard him sing like amazing that first time, it wouldn't surprise you as much when you finally hear him sing in that episode. So to me, it's actually a very important part in the anime because if you don't get that cringy moment where he's not good, I don't even want to say that because it's not that he's not good. It's that it's just like he has no semblance of how you're actually supposed to sing, you know?
I think it's well symbolic in a lot of different ways, but when you first hear him, he doesn't have any musical experience whatsoever. So a lot of it is, um, obviously changing throughout the story. He's grown his music ability, whether that's singing or playing, which he did both. It's him fighting himself through his experiences and growing as a person. So at I think it's the final episode.
It's not the final episode. It's, I think, episode 9. And there's 11 episodes and then the OVA.
Gotcha. When it gets to that point to where he belts it out, he's kind of past the technical side of dealing with things and working through things, but he's in the just state of raw emotion and letting it all out. And which I think is character growth again for other reasons, where it's like he's growing in so many different ways. He's filling the void with something new. He's taking care of things. He's growing, and I think it had to be cringy for that reasoning as well.
Oh yeah, each of these characters like goes through significant trauma in a way. And so when throughout this series they're trying to have him write the lyrics to the song and they still have not heard the lyrics to this song that is supposed to be their essentially like first show of them as a band. And so they have no clue. Like they're like, hey, have you gotten the lyrics yet? Because we have to practice the song with the lyrics and da da da. And they keep like hounding him about it, and he just can't think of like the words. Like the words, he's got the melody down, but he cannot think of the words. It hasn't come to him. And literally seconds before the show, they're about to give up on him because he still has not told them the lyrics to the song. They're like, it's okay, we'll just do, instrumental like we've always done. And then when they start playing this song and he just starts singing, they're all in utter shock because they were like, motherfucker, where were these lyrics? But in reality, I think it's that he did not have those like lyrics until like that final moment, like before because he was like you said, he was letting it all out. It was essentially a love song, and he is getting over his trauma from his previous relationship that was so sad. I'm not gonna give that major spoiler because I don't want to ruin this anime for people if they haven't seen it. But it is very sad, tragic, and when he lets out this like seriously belt, it's so raw, and it's so sad. Like I was sobbing, bitch. Like I was sobbing. I could not stop crying. I listened to that song over and over again. It's so good, and yeah, highly recommend this anime if you haven't seen it. It's so good. And it's you could easily binge it. There are only 12 episodes, you know? Easily bingeable. You can watch it in a day. So, highly recommend if you haven't seen it. I'm a sucker though for music animes. They always have a special place in my heart. I used to be a musician, and so anytime there's an anime where like the main focus is about music, it always touches me because it was such an important part of my life. And still is. Music is so important to me. So I'm always going to be a sucker for those. If you guys have any other good recommendations, please let me know. I'm always down to watch new animes. With all that being said, I wanted to have the flow of this episode be kind of like heavy, happy, heavy, and then finish it off with a bunch of lighthearted shit. So that anime is a little bit on the, you know, heavier side, a little bit more make you cry, sad but happy, all the emotions. Let's get into something that's a little bit more lighthearted, upbeat, funny. And that's Skate the Infinity. You guys know I've talked about this anime a million fucking times. I never shut up about it because I love it so fucking much. And the thing about this anime is that it completely was not what I was expecting, and anytime I recommend it to somebody, they say the exact same thing. This is not at all what I was expecting. When you hear skateboard anime, Justin, what is the first thing you would have thought of?
Brink, but an anime kind of style.
Really, Brink?
That was the shit, man. That was my shit.
Okay. So most of the time people think like X Games, you know, when I talk about this skateboard anime, and I have to, you know, somehow manage to be like, no, it's not X Games. It's way better. What were you going to say, Justin?
I was gonna say, I'd like to change my answer, please.
Okay, what's your answer?
Rocket power.
Ooh, actually, that's a lot more accurate. And now that I'm thinking about it, yeah, that's actually pretty good. Yeah. This is gonna sound so stupid, but I think of this is gonna sound so stupid. It's also gonna show my age. I think of a Goofy movie, an extreme Goofy movie, where Max is playing in the X, and then Goofy winds up being an X. But that's what he means, that hot ass librarian. Anyway, sorry. Getting way off tangent. Anyway, most of the time people think X Games. Sorry. Okay. It's not Goofy movie X Games. Sorry. Sorry to disappoint. It's not about the X Games. So, Skate the Infinity, basic understanding, it's about like underground skating in these natural terrains that are extremely fucking dangerous, and these characters have these like different personas when they go into these battles, essentially. And each of these characters are so distinct and so talented. They have fans, okay? And the two main characters where this story kind of revolves around are Reki and Longa. They're your classic sun and moon duo. Reki is the more extroverted and outgoing, silly, hyper, you know, burst of energy. And then Longa is more reserved, quiet, introverted, total typical red-blue characters, you know, in any anime, right? Wrong, because Reki has this dynamic in the anime that I heavily relate to. which is why I love this character so much. Anytime I relate to a character, it instantly makes me love an anime 10 times more because it's like, man, somebody else feels like that so much to the point where they put it in a fucking anime. And so Reki, while he meets this character Longa and they form this friendship, Longa is introduced into this world of S, which is the underground skating tournaments. It's kind of like Fight Club. We don't talk about it. And so Longa has a background in snowboarding. He has never once gotten onto a skateboard, and it's this completely new dynamic for him. He's used to having his feet strapped to a board, and so he's god awful at this. And Reki, along the road, Longa improves and grows and starts to gain confidence, so much to the point where it piques the interest of the king of S, which is Adam, who enters in as our villain, essentially, of the anime. He's a piece of shit. He's a piece of shit. And I hate him, and pretty much everyone in the entire skate community hates this motherfucker. He has no redemption arc in my eyes, god damn it. Okay? I don't give a fuck what anybody says. I don't care if there was a happy ending. I don't give a fuck. Fuck Adam. Okay? He's stupid as fuck. By the way, I'm going to make this analogy because I've said it before, but I have to point it out because I will never understand. There's so many Hisoka simps out there, and I don't understand. I feel like you guys need to have your brain checked out. But I'm not hating on you. I just think there's something very wrong with you. I don't hate you. I just think there's something really wrong up there in that brain of yours. It's okay. Just get the help you need. Anyway, Adam is exactly like Hisoka. Exactly. First of all, I'm going to just point out the fucking obvious. They look the goddamn same. They look the exact fucking same, okay? Except that fucking Hisoka has hot pink hair and Adam has fucking electric blue hair. Okay? Also, enter in. They have very similar theme music. Hisoka has like Latin guitar, Matador type fucking music whenever he enters in the newer Hunter x Hunter. I know he had a different theme in the 90s one, whatever. Anyway, in the new version, he's got this like very like Latin inspired fucking theme. Adam has a Matador fucking theme, and he wears a fucking Matador costume with his skateboard having bull horns on it. Also, they're both extremely predatory. I hate them. Okay? I hate both of them. I hate Hisoka more because it's 10 times worse than predatory behavior. But anyway, they're the same fucking character. So I don't understand how the skate fandom hates Adam, but like the Hunter x Hunter fandom is like turns a blind eye to Hisoka. I'm like, what the fuck? What? They're the same fucking character. Anyway. Tangent done. Sorry, I had to get that off my chest because it really pisses me off every time I think about it. That they're the exact same fucking character, but yet one gets more hate than the other. Anyway. Because people are like, but Hisoka's not attracted to the kids, he's attracted to their power. But they're kids, so he's attracted to the kids. Shut the fuck up. I don't want to hear that argument ever fucking again. I don't ever want to hear that shit again. Okay, sorry. Deep breath. I'm okay. Anyway, so you have this main villain who's taken interest into Longa, who's developed this very unique and sudden talent into something he's never done before because he's using his talent from snowboarding to improve his skating. And so because they're so different, yes, they have their similarities, but they're also very different. Reki starts to design a board for him to accommodate for those differences to help him skate better. And during his improvement, I said all that because I needed the backstory for Reki's character development. Sorry. I went off on a tangent. I brought myself back. With all of that, now you know that Longa is improving, and while he's improving at such a rapid rate, Reki starts to notice that he is falling behind, and all his other friends that he's made in this underground world are so far ahead of him that he can't keep up. And he starts to like resent himself because he wants to get better. He's trying so hard to get better, but he's just kind of at the same spot. And he's lost this enjoyment for skating in itself because he just wants to be able to have fun with his friends, but he can't even keep up with their talent. And it starts to weigh on him. And it comes to this pinnacle moment for Reki where he realizes that he doesn't have to be as good as them. That's not what the whole point is. It's that it's just experiencing the same things with them, having those memories with them, having fun with them. And he realizes that he's not necessarily a great skater, but he is there as support, which is also just as important. If you don't have support from your friends, what are you going to really have from the people that matter most to you? What does that amount to anything? And I say all that to bring up this point because I've always watched it in the sub. I feel like it hits 10 times harder. And then when I had, watched it with Justin, he wanted to watch the dub because we were kind of watching stuff in between. He wasn't in the mood for the subtitles. Totally valid, right? I had never seen the dub, and I'm not trying to shit on the dub. That's not what it is. I actually think it's very cute, but there is this very pinnacle point that I'm talking about where essentially Longa and Reki have gone their separate ways because Reki just cannot fathom this moment that he's not good. He thinks he's not good enough to be around these people. So he distances himself from them to work on himself and figure out what the fuck's going on with himself until he comes to this moment where he realizes I'm not there to compete with my friends. I'm there to have fun with my friends. This moment happens where Longa is about to give up in this competition with Adam and the other skaters. And you see it on his face where he's just like, ugh, I'm done. I have no reason to keep on going. I've already fucked this all up. At that exact moment, Reki is like thinking in his head, like, why are you giving up? Why are you giving up? And he screams out to him. And for me, in the dub, when I heard it, I'm like waiting for this like heart-wrenching moment where like a friend is like pleading out to their friend and it finally like wakes him up and it motivates him to keep going and trying harder and to like finish up the race and try to win. But in the dub, it did not hit as hard for me. And I had Justin rewatch that moment in the sub and he was like, oh shit, you were right. It did not hit as hard. I don't know why, but it didn't. Like, it was like such a plea for like anguish almost that it hits so hard. But in the dub, it's more of just like he's just calling out to him. And that was such a different variant that I wasn't expecting, that I was like, that wasn't expecting it to mean that much. But in that moment, it really is such a turning point in the anime.
Well, in the dub, it was like, Longa, you can do it, bud.
Yeah, and in the sub, it really, like I said, it's like anguish almost, where he's like crying out to his friend, like, don't give up, like, to give it everything you got. But like you said, in the dub, it's more like, hey, I think, okay, literally the thing that came to mind is Rob Schneider in every single Adam Sandler movie where he's like, you can do it! That's the vibe I got from it versus, dude, shut the fuck up. I know it's gotta be in more than just one movie. Like, I know it's gotta be in more than one movie. Anyway, anyway. But I just think of Rob Schneider and he's like, you can do it. In like The Water Boy, right? I'm pretty sure that's what it was. Anyway. But that's the vibe I got, and it just doesn't hit the same. And so I made Justin like rewatch that episode. Funnily enough, at the time, we didn't even know this. Not all of the dub episodes were out. So he had to watch the rest of the anime in the sub anyway. So it kind of worked out better for me. But as we finished the anime in the sub, he was like, oh my gosh, you were right. This is way more emotional in the sub. And I've talked about this before. It's not that one is better than the other. The thing is that sometimes due to translations or the amount of limitations that the English voice actor or any other dub voice actor, doesn't matter the language, the limitations that they have, it may not compete with the original simply for the fact that they just have so many limitations on it. It's not that the acting is always bad. Now, don't get me wrong, there are some that is genuinely bad, but they do have heavy limitations, so I try not to shit on them because there are some amazing fucking dubs out there. I'm actually going to be talking about one after this because I actually really like the dub. But it's just, for me, I always try to watch both versions of it to see which one I prefer. Because there are some animes that even though I think the dub is shitty, I prefer it. Like Yuri on Ice, I love the dub for that. I talked about that in my last episode, you know, that I just fucking love that anime. So to me, it's not that I don't love the sub. I actually prefer it, but I love watching the dub because it makes it 10 times funnier for me with all the shitty accents. So do not shit on people for their preference. Anytime I recommend like an anime to a friend, I'll let them know which one I prefer. A lot of the times they'll come back to me and be like, yeah, you were right about that one. But I mean, sometimes that's not the case. So just let people watch it however the fuck they want to watch it. It's the same fucking story. So just stop being toxic.
Yeah. Long story short, this is the community to be a part of, to have just fun time talking about stuff.
We're not going to shit on you for your preference of dub or sub.
Yeah. I'm not going to gatekeep this thing, and we're not going to hate on every single thing. There's things that people can like too, you know? So this is a good vibe place.
Unless we're talking about the Hunter x Hunter dub, because I've talked about that before too.
Of course. Of course.
Hi, I'm Gon. Hi, I'm Killua. It's bad. Sorry. But it's not the whole thing is bad. It's just for them, they don't hit the same for me. Anyway, I've talked about this extensively. Anyway, so that moment does not hit the same, and we watched the rest of it in sub, kind of because we were forced to, but it worked out better that way because Justin was like, yeah, you were right. This did not hit the same. Until after I showed him, I was like, no, dude, you got to see this scene. It does not hit the same. And he completely agreed with me that it was not that the dub was bad, but that moment, again, being such a turning point for Reki and Longa's friendship, it was huge. Now let's talk about my favorite boys, which are Joe and Cherry. Anyway, I'm so excited. I love them so much. While Reki and Longa are like my staple characters because they remind me of me and my best friend to like a T, I love Joe and Cherry. I am the biggest freaking simp for Joe and Cherry. First of all, Cherry is so beautiful. Like, I don't understand how someone is so pretty. He is like, the best way I could describe this is like Cherry reminds me of the way that he's so beautiful. Like Hal from Howl's Moving Castle is the prettiest boy in all of anime. Like for me, Cherry is just under that because he's so fucking pretty, damn it. He's so fucking pretty. I don't understand how a man can be so pretty, but he is, okay? And he's their whole friendship dynamic is so good because again, you see these two completely different friendships between, you know, Reki and Longa and Cherry and Joe. Cherry and Joe had this previous friendship that like got torn apart, which enter in Adam. Fuck Adam. But they had this like trio friendship where they were all very close, and then Adam became so high and mighty and like, I'm so much better than you guys, don't even fucking, you're not anywhere near my level type shit, that he fucked up their friendship. And in doing so, Joe and Cherry kind of became rivals. But in this moment, like they have clear moments where it's so obvious that they still care about each other and it's so sincere. I can't look away because it's just, it's gay. I'm just gonna fucking say it. They're totally fucking gay for each other, okay? And I ship them 110%, okay? Because there's this moment, which, by the way, any anime fan knows that if it's got a beach episode, it's a great fucking anime. And guess what? Skate the Infinity has a beach episode, okay? And so there's this beach episode where this moment where, Reki and Longa are like fucking with Joe, like cock blocking him with all these hot chicks. And Mika is like the kid who's a total badass. I love him, by the way. He's adorable, mischievous, and totally hilarious. and he's fucking with Joe, like cock blocking him. And he says, "Daddy, daddy, mommy, where's mommy?" And like points over to Cherry and Joe. Like they do this like fucking pan up of Cherry being sexy as fuck. And Joe is like, "Oh shit." And then he's like, "That's fucking Cherry, bitch." Like it's just this hilarious moment, but it's totally like he thought it was a sexy person and he didn't say shit until he realized it was Cherry. And it's like, "You're gay, bitch. Just admit it." Like, I love them. Anyway, I know it's not like official or anything, but I totally ship like all of these people together. Like Reki Longa, I ship them together. Joe and Cherry, I ship. First of all, I have to talk about how Joe and Cherry have the best ship name I've ever like heard in my entire life. I don't know who came up with it, but I fucking love you. Whoever did come up with it. It's Matcha Blossom. That is fucking adorable. That's fucking adorable. Because Joe has like green hair, so he's like Matcha. And then Cherry's like skate name is Cherry Blossom. So it's Matcha. I'm like, that's goddamn adorable. That's an adorable ship name. And this is coming from someone who really does not give a single fuck about ships, but I ship them so fucking hard. I love their ship name. I think it's so cute. But, you know, all that comes to this like very pivotal point. They talk about, I mean, this is talked about in so many anime, like sports animes, the zone, you know, where it's like they get that high and it's like an athlete's high, kind of like, you know, in a marathon where they hit the wall and then you push past the wall and you get this intense like high from it. They talk about that heavily throughout this anime, and Adam is essentially trying to bring Longa into the zone with him because no one's ever reached that level. And that's how he kind of judges people in a way. He's like, "You're not even close to the zone." You know, it's very toxic and dangerous because essentially what you realize is that when you get into the zone, you don't see anything else in front of you. You're just in that high and you're not aware of your other surroundings. Yeah, tunnel vision, essentially. And so this whole pivotal, you know, this anime comes to that pivotal point where it's Longa versus Adam, and I don't want to give spoilers away. So anyway, it's the ending, it's so good. I don't want to give spoilers away, but the way it ends, I wasn't expecting a season 2. And so, I mean, I'm hopeful. I was hopeful for one, but I couldn't really think. I was like, I mean, it technically wraps up in a very good way to where you wouldn't need one. But I think, because now it's been announced that there's a season 2 and an OVA, I think it'll end after season 2, though. I don't think there will be much more. I'd be very shocked if it did, unless they go like full on X Games with it, which would be totally badass. I'd totally be down for that later on, like maybe as like a time skip kind of a thing season, like how Free does. That would be dope. But I think based off of where Reki ends up, I think it's gonna focus more on Reki this season versus Longa, because Reki throughout this, his realizing he's not necessarily the skater in his friend group. He's the support. And so he discovers, you know, this more inner talent where he's good at being a supporting role for his friends, but also he's extremely talented at making these boards and designing them better for each person based off of their needs for their skating style. He's like redesigned Longa's board each time to help improve his skating. So I think it's going to focus more on Reki this time being a good supporting role. I don't really know where they'll go from season 1 based off of how it ended, but I'm excited because I loved this anime so much. And again, it's a very good anime in the sense that it has a lot of comedic moments, but it shows very touching moments, very real moments of, you know, depression and self-doubt and just real issues that normal people face. And it does a good job of showing that. And so I'm excited to see what they do with it in season 2 because, again, the way it ends, I wasn't expecting a season 2. I was very hopeful for it just because I enjoyed the anime. But I'm excited. Well, I hope, the OVA, I'm excited for the movie. We'll see. I'm excited. And I love these characters. I wonder if they're gonna, introduce any new ones. I hope that Adam doesn't have a redemption arc. I don't want that. But I don't know. I'm excited. So, what are maybe I should do a episode of sports animes. I feel like I have a lot to talk about that subject. There's so many good sports animes. Man. Yeah, maybe we'll do that. Anyway, so wrapping up Skate the Infinity. That's our more lighthearted, feel good anime where very little intensity, like bad, sad things happen. It's more of an uphill kind of vibe, very funny and loose, feel good anime. Now we're gonna get into something that completely, utterly shattered my heart into a billion pieces. Yeah, we're gonna talk about Fruits Basket. So, Fruits Basket, let me do a little backstory. I know Fruits Basket came out in the 90s. I know the manga came out in the 90s, and it was never finished. And then it got rebooted. I never saw the original, never read the original manga, but I do know that it is my childhood best friend's favorite anime and manga of all time. And so I promised her I would watch it, but I wanted to wait until it had finished because when I had finally found out that they were like, animating it, they had already had like two of the 4 seasons out. So I was like, I'll wait so I can binge it. And I had started to watch it at one point during, I think when, is it 3 or 4 seasons? I can't remember. I think it's 3 seasons now that I'm thinking about it. Anyway, not relevant, not important. Moving on. So I had seen like the first 5 episodes and I was like, oh, this is cute. It wasn't grabbing me in the sense of like, I have to binge this until like the 6th or 7th episode when I was like, oh my God, these children are fucking traumatized. Oh my God. By the way, you guys know that I'm always down for anime characters getting horribly traumatized. It makes for such a good anime. I'm always a sucker for when a character, it's like, I've talked about this before, that TikTok where it's like, he got a million times hotter when his life fell apart. That's like any anime character. Their story gets so much better when their life falls apart. Like one of my favorite tropes is that they turn into the thing that they hate. So like Tokyo Ghoul, Attack on Titan, like all that kind of shit where they become that thing that they hate so much. And it's like, my whole life is gone to shit now. Anyway. But not the case with Fruits Basket. I'm sorry. So Fruits Basket, based off of like all the descriptions I was getting, it just did not seem like something I'd be interested in, but I was like, I'm gonna give it a chance because my best friend loves this and I wanna, I wanna give it justice. I wanna sit down, binge it, see if I really like it. And it wasn't that I didn't try. I would get to like the first 5 episodes and it would just be like I was busy or whatever. I'm making excuses. I never got to finish it. And so I was like, I'm going to wait until the entire thing is out and then I'm going to like just binge the fuck out of it. So I started watching it with Justin and this was the dub that I actually enjoyed. We decided to watch the dub because a lot of our favorite voice actors voiced the characters for this one, like Laura Bailey. We are a huge Laura Bailey. We love Laura Bailey. She's adorable, wholesome, sweet. Also Chris Sabat is in it. There's just so many of my favorite voice actors in this that I had to watch. So I'm watching it and we get to like that 5th or 6th episode and I'm like, oh my God, they're horribly traumatized, these poor children. And it hooked us. And this was an anime that I totally did not expect to love. And as I'm watching it, I can't stop fucking crying. Like every other episode makes me fucking like, and not like a little tear here or there. I mean like uncontrollable fucking sobbing. Damn it. And I'm not trying to ruin this for anybody. It's very good. Like watch it. I mean, coming from somebody who really, again, like I love chill, slice of life, like sweet romance, but it's not something I highly gravitate towards, at least not like the super sappy ones or whatever. I'm just not the biggest fan of like romance animes. I will watch them if people recommend and I think I'm going to enjoy it, but they're not typically ones I gravitate towards. So I was kind of hesitant to watch this, but I was like, okay, I'll watch it. And as I'm watching it, like something hooks me after each episode, and I'm like, I gotta keep watching it. And we binged this entire series in like I think it was like less than 2 or 3 weeks. I really want to say it was pretty quick. And man, what a sincere and wholesome love story because these characters, man, you see it delves so good into each of the somas, which are the family that the story revolves around. They are each a member of the zodiac. And so again, was a concept that was not like I was like, okay, so they transform into animals when they get hugged. I thought it was cheesy, like based off of what people kept describing it to me. And I wish somebody had described to me some completely different and not even mention any of that because I would have just gone in and been like, okay, I'm down.
Also, love story, it's kinda like a hidden love story. It's
It's
it's it's not what you sign up for.
yes, exactly. It's very subtle. It's a very slow, natural progression. And it's not like forced upon you from the beginning. It's very layered. And it's there's gonna be spoilers, you guys know that, but Kyo is the cat in the Zodiac, and based off the story in the Zodiac, apparently, like, the cat was fucked with, essentially, and is kinda pushed out of the Zodiac and is trying so hard to be accepted by the other Zodiacs. Here comes Kyo, which is essentially trying to break that curse, essentially, that is brought down in each new generation of the Zodiacs. And at first, I cannot stand Kyo. He kinda reminds me of Bakugo in that way, where it's like, you're kinda forced to hate him because he's totally being a dick to someone who's nothing but kind to him, and you realize later on that he was trying to push her away because he didn't want to get close to her because he actually knew her mother, and he had this close relationship with her mother and had made this promise to her and didn't even realize that that's who she was until he heard her name. And their love story was something I was just never expecting. Um, man, I'm getting teary-eyed just thinking about it. Shit, fuck.
Well, they do such a good job of character development for all involved. And,
I'm just excited.
I thought she was about to start already started crying as she sips her tea. Um, sorry, I heard it in the
I'm sorry.
No, but that they do a really good job of not making it a love story, but it's just a focus on relationships, and that's intermingling between the Zodiacs and everybody. It's so good. It is good.
It's a very feel good cry your eyes out anime. I cannot stress that. I mean, I only watched the one time, but I can already tell after binging it that it is gonna be one that I watch over and over and over again. And for me, that's what classifies a comfort anime. It doesn't have to be slice of life, romance, whatever. I mean, I would consider Hunter x Hunter one of my comfort animes, which you might think you're fucking insane, but it's something that I just love so much. And no matter how many times I watch it, I still get the same feel over and over again and it's not an anime for the faint of heart. It is something that will rip your heart into a million fucking pieces. But I love it because it again has such a good natural progression of character development that when the shit hits the fan, you're just rooting so fucking hard for these characters. And that's how I felt about Fruits Basket was that again, like here's this found family. I'm a sucker for a found family fucking trope, man. I love that shit. And so poor Toru, she has no family. I mean, the only person she has is her grandfather, and she has other family members, but she's not close with them. And so she has this newfound family with the Somas, and each of these characters has such good character development. They do such a good job of going into each of these characters' backstories. And the main villain essentially is Akito, who is the head of the Soma family. And there's just so many twists and turns, especially with their character development. By the way, I still hate Akito. I don't give a fuck. Total fucking bitch. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself. Getting ahead of myself. But each of these characters, you really like have this like sincere and very real feeling for each of these characters, whether it be that you love them, you hate them, it's very, very clear. It's never like wishy-washy kind of a thing. It's like, you know, if you like them or you don't. And my favorite character is Momiji, who is the bunny, or is the rabbit zodiac. Momiji is the sweetest, most adorable, kind-hearted, like, character. And I just, oh man, I was so heartbroken because again, this is essentially a love story, and you realize that each of these characters has a different relationship with Toru, and you think it's between these two characters, and you realize that it's not that the other person was in love with Toru, he saw her as family. And so he was so protective over her, not because he was in love with her, but because he saw her more of like a motherly, sisterly role. Because he did not have that motherly figure in his life. All of these poor children, their families like abandoned them and like like because it's like considered a curse to be a member of the zodiac essentially, and they can't even like be held by their mothers or anything. They cannot have that closeness with them. Again, they're all so traumatized, and you see them throughout this anime like gain their confidence and their natural progression of getting over those traumas because of Toru and the love that she shows them. I just like, as much as I love Fruit Basket, I just wish my baby Momiji had a better ending. My poor baby. I want to cry. I just love him so much. And like, when you find out that he loves Toru and that he like tried to grow up faster so she would see him in a different light as other than just like, oh, sweet baby Momiji, even though he's her age, or actually I think he's a year older than her, but he's got that like sweet, innocent, cute baby vibe about him that he's just always kind of banked off of. And he was like, she's never going to see me as a man if I don't grow up. And he does that and like has this natural progression of growing up and trying to like show her that what he can be for her. But at that point it was already too late because she was so in love with Kyo from the very get-go, you know? This story is just so sweet because again, you don't realize that Kyo was pushing her away to protect her in a way. He didn't want her to fall in love with him because he is the most cursed zodiac and is in his eyes unlovable. And for her to love him is like, are you crazy? Like being with me is only going to bring you despair and hate and nothing good. And so her pushing against that is shocking for him. When we find out his relationship with her mother, and he tries to essentially like have one last push to where she's like, I'm done with you. I hate you for this. Because again, spoiler, 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 spoiler. He was there at the moment that her mother died, but instead of stop like pushing her out the way, he was so terrified of getting found out because he knew if he like embraced her that it would in turn cause issues not just for him but his entire family. And so this moment that you find out that essentially in his eyes he is the reason her mother died, when in reality it's not his fault. Even if he could have embraced her, you know, what would that have come? What good would that have come? Because this person was driving erratically and she was just not paying attention. Even if he were to have shouted out to her or anything, it wouldn't have been enough time essentially for her to move out the way. So it is not his fault, you know? But he has burdened himself with that his entire life, essentially, that he is the reason her mother died. And so he's like, I cannot get close to this girl because I don't deserve that. I don't deserve that happiness. I've hurt her in a way that's unimaginable. I took away the one thing that she had in her entire life. And so he doesn't think he's worthy of that love. And when he tells her what he thinks her mother said, she completely outright denies it. She's like, I don't believe she said that. And even if she did say that, she didn't mean it because she knows her mother would never say something so awful. And this moment where, it is so sad, and, you realize that she really truly loves him no matter what. She's willing to give up that moment where she's willing to give up her memories of her mother just to be happy with this person she truly loves, because this is her way of getting over that hurt, to have this new happiness and love in her life. It's not that she's replacing her mother with Kyo, it's that he's helping her move on from that hurt. After we binged this anime and we loved it so much, we were late to the game. So it was after the movie had already aired in the States, and I was like, shit, now I gotta fucking wait for it to come on Crunchyroll. And I was like checking every week to find out when this damn movie was gonna be streaming on Crunchyroll. And as soon as the day it came out, I was like, bitch, we got the fucking Fruits Basket movie. And I say all of that because we watched the dub because all of like our favorite voice actors were gonna be in it, and so we watched the dub. And I did not do research into who was gonna be doing the dub of her parents. I kind of wanted to be completely surprised. I didn't want to, because it's essentially a prelude to Fruits Basket, where it starts off by showing the natural progression of her and Kyo's relationship, and then goes into her parents' love story. And oh my God, I literally screamed audibly because I was so fucking happy when I found out who was voicing Toru's dad. Because again, I cannot stress this enough. Every time I get so fucking hype that J. Michael motherfucking Tatum is a fucking character, because he always plays my favorite fucking characters. He has the perfect voice to play someone that is a little bit smug, a little bit playful, a little bit, it's just so good. And so I literally audibly screamed because I was so fucking excited when I found out that he was voicing Toru's dad, because again, he plays a dark-haired character with glasses. Shocker. And I was like, thank God they got this motherfucker to play him, because it was such a perfect fit. I loved it so much, and like their story was so sweet and so sad, and it makes me sad because I wish in a way that like Toru's dad had more time with her, but you wouldn't have had like Toru be Toru if her dad hadn't passed at such a young age, because she kind of takes on his mannerisms to help her mother cope with the loss of losing the love of her life. She was completely distraught and numb and depressed and was a shell of a person because she could not cope with the loss of the love of her life. And in that same way, Toru uses that to help her mother cope by taking on some of his mannerisms, like the way that he talks and greets her. And it's just so sweet because, again, you realize how kind of a person Toru is. At such a young age, she was like, I need to help my mom. I'm a kid, but I need to help my mom. I just loved this anime. Again, I was never expecting it to be what it was based off of what people had told me. I wish somebody had explained it to me as how would I describe Fruits Basket if I was trying to get somebody to watch it? I would probably say this is not your typical romance anime. It is a romance, but it is not the way that you're going to think. It's touching, it's sad, it's got great character development. I'd be like, it's about the Zodiacs and their family and a love story within that. I would not say because anytime somebody would describe it to me, they'd be like, oh, it's about the Zodiacs and how they can't have good relationships because if they get hugged by a girl, they change, by the opposite sex. They transform. And it's like, the way people had always described to me, it was more comedic. And I was like, that sounds really cheesy to me. But as I watched this anime, I was like, it isn't anything but that. All of these characters, again, have such deep trauma and they are trying to work through that I would have never, ever, ever described it the way that somebody had always talked to me about it.
It's an anime where everybody's feeling, emotional thought processes is valid, which, I mean, everybody's different. Everybody has their own battles, and this is one of those kind of shows where you get, I mean, maybe not every single one of them, but, you see a handful of characters, you see the battles that they face, and they're all different, but they're all living with each other. They're all having to fight it together, which I think is ultimately is what really makes it so great. Character development, like you said, is a key thing in this, and Totoro, or not Totoro,
Toru.
Tot she becomes the glue that brings everybody together
Hmm.
because everybody else is trying to battle everything on their own, and she's the one person that's helping them come together to fight the issues that they're all, because at the end of the day, they're all fighting the same underlying issue, but nobody knows it or thinks of it because they're all in their own bubbles, dealing with their own traumas. So Toru Toru to
Toru. I know Justin's horrible at pronunciations.
she is the glue that brings them all together because she ultimately helps them realize that they are all in the same boat together.
Yeah, she helps heal their family traumas, and like each of them has their own different trauma based off of how shitty their actual family members have treated them. And like I think of like Ayame and brain fart. Oh, I think of Ayame and Yuki being like blood brothers, and Ayame was so terrified of his parents like lashing out all the time because Yuki is supposed to be like so important, and he's supposed to be having this very close relationship with freaking shit for fucking breath Akito. Sorry, that was intense. He's supposed to have this very natural closeness with Akito, but it's very forced on him, and so he doesn't understand because he's a child, like, why he has to make this person happy, but everyone's so terrified of Akito that they don't understand that they're traumatizing their kids just to make this other person happy. And Ayame loses that relationship with his brother and spends, like, the rest of his life essentially trying to gain that closeness with him again in the worst way possible, but, like, just trying to be there for his brother after the fact that he wasn't there when Yuki needed him the most. And so now he has that burden and guilt of not being there for his brother when he really needed him and wanting to make up for it later on in life, but Yuki isn't receptive because he's so angry he can't get past that trauma from his childhood. And he's not necessarily taking it out on his brother, he's taking it out on everyone. But yeah, so each of these characters has their own hurt that they are working through, and I think of, like, all of these characters and how each of them has this trauma, and what Toru does is she heals them because she fills in those gaps of those missing family members for them that they don't have, essentially, because those people that should have been there to love and care for them weren't. And now they have this, like, beam of light that essentially repairs all that is broken and lifts their curse. I loved this anime so much. I was not expecting to love it this much, and as soon as we finished the movie, I was like, "Do you wanna watch Fruits Basket again?" Because it was just so good. I wanted to watch it all over again, like, instantly. It was not something that I was thinking, "Maybe in, like, a month or 2 we'll watch." I wanted to watch it instantly, like, all over again. It was something that I was not expecting to love so much. And yes, there are some things that I wish I could change. Just I know there's gonna be people in the comments or something that are gonna be like, "It's so inappropriate, their age gaps." And like, yes, I totally understand that. I agree. I'm not a fan of the giant age gaps between some of the characters. I mean, but I will say because this was written in the 90s, I'm not excusing that, but it doesn't shock me. At that time, it was not considered as problematic as it is now, and rightfully so. Um, but they're also I can someone who genuinely understands this better, are they cousins? Like real blood like, I don't understand that because I know the Somas is like a clan, but I've never fully understood that, so I would like someone who understands the culture better if they could hop in the comments and explain that better to me because from my understanding, they are related, but they aren't. I'm assuming it's very distant cousins. You know what I mean? So I don't know. That is the only other thing that I wasn't 100% sure about. Also, the entire time, me and Justin were trying to figure out who the fuck the dragon was. And then we realized that the seahorse is supposed to be the fucking dragon. But obviously now that doesn't, because of the time they're in, there's no fucking dragons. It ain't Game of Thrones. So it had to be a seahorse. I was so confused that I had to Google it because I was like, did I just miss that? Like I just, it went way over my head, guys. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to shit on it. It genuinely went completely over my head, and I just didn't fully pay attention to that episode where it was broken down, but I'm sorry. Anyway, so with all that being said, I had to talk about my favorite comfort animes, and I have an honorable mentions list, which I'm going to fully go into. I have like 15 fucking animes that I had to talk about, but I was like, I can't dedicate the entire episode to 18 animes. I can't, it's not possible. I can't go deep dive into all of these. Maybe another one where I can talk about like another one, like Comfort Animes 2.0, whatever the fuck. But I had to like do like a quick fire thing with these, where I just kind of do a little mini synopsis about each one of them and why I love them so much. And so, I mean, I told you guys, me and Justin love slice of life comfort style animes because we are hardcore into shonen and shoujo, where sometimes it's a lot more action and we just get exhausted from binging them and we want something to calm us down after that intensity. So we love watching comfort animes and slice of life, stuff like that. So first one I'm going to talk about, I totally happened upon randomly because I was just looking for something chill to watch, and it's called Restaurant to Another World. It's about essentially the best way I can describe it is this hidden restaurant that appears once every Saturday. It's like the fourth Saturday in every month or something along those lines. It's very specific. It's like one day out of the month on a Saturday that it just shows up. This random door appears in all these different worlds, and it's in their world. It's our version of like fantasy, out of this time, completely different realm, but the door connects to our world, the modern world where there's electricity and all kinds of other shit. And so this restaurant makes food from our world for people who have shit like mutton. Like, and it blows their mind. So they've never had anything like ice cream or like simple things that for us would be like, oh, it's just a pancake. But for them, they're like, what the fuck is a pancake? And I'm a sucker for food animes or anything that shows them making food, because anime food always looks 10 times better than real world food. And it makes me so hungry. I highly recommend, if you're going to watch this, have some food before you watch it, because it's going to make you hungry. Every time I watched this, I wanted whatever the fuck they were making, because it was so detailed and like looked so good. And what was so wholesome about this anime was that each of these characters, because it kind of focuses on a new person each episode and what their favorite dish from this restaurant is. And it was just so wholesome and sweet because each person has their own thing that essentially is their new comfort food that they look forward to and like crave every time of this month that the door randomly appears in their world. And it's very hush hush, like people don't talk about it, and it's just it's kind of like a known thing that if you find it, you don't talk about it to other people, really. But yeah, highly recommend if you want like a good chill anime that has virtually nothing bad happen in it, but it's just sweet, wholesome, and makes you hungry, watch Restaurant to Another World. It is on Crunchyroll. Another one based off of recommendation to us, which we just recently watched and we had been like slowly watching it, was Laid Back Camp. We loved this anime. It was a recommendation from our friends, and it is one of their favorite comfort animes. So we were like, we got to check it out because we love comfort animes. And so we were watching this, and I just got to say this. It's not that I don't like camping. It's not that I don't love the outdoors. The outdoors hates me. Okay. I have such horrible allergies and I'm allergic to anything that has venom. So that is not exclusive to snakes. I mean, any bug that has a stinger, bitch. It's horrible. Okay. And so I could die at any second. And I hate that because I love the outdoors. I love being outside in nature. But then at the end of the day, even with like doping myself up with all the allergy medicine possible, popping 17 Benadryls, which I know, don't do that. I still have like allergy attacks at the end of the day where I'm like wheezing and can barely breathe. It's horrible. I hate it. Wish that wasn't the case for me because I actually do love being out in nature. I love hiking and all that stuff. I hate that for me, but I have to do it very sparingly because I might die. But I loved this anime because it focuses on, again, little mini found family kind of a vibe where these young girls are in high school and they develop this like camping club, this outdoors club, and they build this friendship and relationship with someone who has completely rejected them like over and over again, that they don't want to be a part of their club because they enjoy camping alone and just the solitude of it, and kind of forcibly are forced into this friendship and to camp with other people, and they realize that it can be fun to camp with other people and enjoy something you enjoy with other people. Just because you enjoy doing it by yourself doesn't make it shitty to do it with other people. Sometimes it's actually better, you know. And it was very sweet. Loved it. Again, focuses a lot on food, and it was just so cute. Genuinely fell in love with all of these characters. Very wholesome. Again, nothing bad happens in this anime. If you're just down for something chill that's very happy. And the scenery in this is stunning. Like, oh my gosh. If you just want something to relax and watch that's going to always make you feel good, highly recommend this. Awesome. So let's move on. I have so many to talk about, guys, which is why I was like, I can't talk about 17, 18 animes in one episode. I was like, I just got to do quick little fire rounds, you know? So next one, quintessential quintuplets. Me and Justin fell in love with this fucking anime. It looked totally like something that we were like, this is going to be so cheesy. And that's why we watched it. And then we wound up like binging it and we had to watch all of these episodes. And then we were mad because we finished it and we had to wait for season 2. And now there's a movie coming out and we got to wait for that. And it's just an anime that was so wholesome and sweet and adorable. Essentially, this guy is super fucking poor and is struggling to help his family pay for their rent and bills and just real life shit. And he's very smart and gets hired on as a tutor for what he thinks is one girl. Turns out she has 5 other sisters and they are all quints. And he's trying to tutor them and they all have completely different personalities, are completely different, driven in different ways. They each have a subject that they suck in and that they're better in. And so he's trying his damnedest to make sure these girls actually graduate. And it's very wholesome, totally sweet. And it's a subtle romance anime too. It's a harem, if I believe. Harem is... I can't... God, I'm so bad at this, guys. I'm sorry. Anyway, it's wholesome as fuck. Watch it. Then, again, another romance anime going into it. Rent a Girlfriend was, again, something I thought was going to be so stupid. And we wound up loving it. We just finished season 2. It was so cute. And we loved this anime because it's something where you want to punch the main character, but you're also rooting for him at the same time because he's trying not to be a perv, but he's but he is. And but it's also because you're rooting for him because he's genuinely trying not to lean on these other girls, but also trying to get over his ex-girlfriend who is a royal fucking bitch. Fuck her. Anyway, watch the anime. I'm doing so bad at explaining these, but I'm trying not to give too much away, guys. I promise. Maybe I'll put the list down below in our YouTube of the description, all the animes, and where you guys can watch them so you guys can binge them.
Yeah, because we got 12 more.
Fuck. You're right. Okay. Next one. Obviously, I've talked about this a million times. Ghibli movies, you guys know I love them. I have a whole series where I deep dive into them. I'm not going to get into that. They're all fucking phenomenal. I watch them over and over again. They are my feel-good movies. Moving on. I know, sorry. I'm trying to be fast. I'm trying to get through all of them. My Dress Up Darling. It's an anime about a girl who cosplays. She meets this boy whose family are doll makers, and they team up essentially to help create better cosplays for her because she doesn't know how to sew. It's also a romance, adorable, wholesome. Watch the fuck out of it. It's adorable. Komi Can't Communicate. This just recently came onto Netflix. It was adorable, loved it. It's about a girl who has severe social anxiety, and it's not that she doesn't want to make connections, but she's too scared to. I watched this because my best friend told me to watch it. She very heavily relates to the character because she also has social anxiety. She's the sweetest person in the world, but is just terrified to talk to people, and that's exactly what Komi is. She wants to make friendships, but she's always in her head about like if she's gonna say the wrong thing. Genuinely such a sweet anime. Animation was adorable, loved all the characters. It's funny, it's mostly funny. The first episode will make you cry your fucking eyes out, but then after that, I promise it's uphill from there. Watch it. It's on Netflix. Love After World Domination was so good. It just came out. We binged it. It was something that was so cheesy, but it's so cute at the same time.
We couldn't binge it because we were watching it week by week by week.
You're right. We wanted to binge it. And so basically it's a ripoff of the Power Rangers, but in the best way. Again, it's a romance anime where the Red Ranger, which is they call it Gelato 5. The red leader, essentially, he is in love with their nemesis. And so they have this hidden relationship from everyone else because obviously if they were to have been seen out, it would cause quite a stir. It's very cute, very funny. Loved it. It's cheesy in the best way. Watch it.
Red Ranger's #1 anyways, and then that chick, boing.
She is very cute. They're so cute. It's very innocent. Nothing. It's so cute. Love it so much. And the intro song is fire. It's so good. Obviously, I mean, I can't talk about wholesome, funny, cute animes without talking about Way of the House Husband. This anime is fucking adorable, and the voice actor that does him, he also does Nanami, anyway, he's a fucking phenomenal voice actor. I love him so much, and anytime he voices a character, I'm like, they're gonna be a badass. I love it. And he this house husband used to be a leader of one of the gangs in the Yakuza and was very feared and was highly respected, and he met the love of his life and becomes a house husband and literally does anything possible to be a better husband for his wife. It's so sweet, so cute, very short. You could easily binge it. Highly recommend. Let's see what else we got. We got a few more. I'm actually getting to these pretty quickly. Okay, then we got Kaguya-sama Love is War. We were so late to this. I know it's been around for a little while, but it was something that I was like, oh, that looks cute. Let's watch that. By the way, Chica is fucking adorable. She is so fucking adorable. We love the Chica dance. She's adorable. I love Chica so fucking much. Anyway, this anime is so adorable in the fact it's funny, it's wholesome, it's so good. It's these kids in like middle school, high school. I can't remember how old they are. I feel like it's high school. And they're in their school's what the fuck is it called? Brain fart moment. Student council, where, you know, president, vice president, treasurer, all that bullshit, whatever. And they have these like weekly meetings or whatever. And these characters are so fucking cute, but the main two characters have clearly huge crushes on each other, but don't want to fucking admit it. And they're basically trying to prove who liked each other first. And it's so wholesome. Watch it. We loved it. We binged it. Getting into the next one. Again, I fucking love sports animes. You guys know this. I'm really considering doing a whole segment where I just talk about sports animes. Let me guys know if you would be interested in that. But I'm talking about Free. It's a swimming, Olympic swimming anime. It's so good. All of these characters are lovable. They have, again, like such good character development. Genuinely loved this. We again binged this, and we were so sad to find out that we thought the anime had all the seasons out, and now we have to wait for the next season. I'm so mad about it because it was like 5 seasons that we binged, and we're like, shit, we gotta wait for now we gotta wait like a whole year, maybe 2 years for the next one because pushed back, or not, what the fuck did I call it? The vid. Anyway. Censor that out, Justin. The Panini fucked it up. Like it fucked up all other anime. Anyway, it was so good. Loved it. Watch it. Science fell in love, so I tried to prove it. This one was adorable. Very similar to like Kaguya-sama Love is War and the fact that these people have genuine feelings for each other, but they don't understand it. So the main characters are both scientists and are very logical, like just do not understand emotion really and are trying to essentially prove how you can love someone scientifically. And so they do all these tests to like figure out if they are in love with their coworker, essentially. It is so cute. It was adorable. Loved it. Binge it. It's adorable. Shikamori's Not Just a Cutie. This was a new one that just came out in spring of this year or last year. I can't remember. And I feel like it was this year. And it was adorable, wholesome, so sweet. Again, another romance. I'm sorry. I know I have a lot of romance on here and I was just talking about all the shit that I don't really gravitate towards romance. I guess I was full of shit. I'll call myself out on that. Sorry. You know what I think it is that you like romance and then I watch it with you and then I end up liking these animes.
Yeah, I was gonna say I love chill romance, bro.
That's the thing is like me and Justin have such different vibes for anime. He like loves like slice of life and romance, and I love like horror, shonen, shoujo. Like I love all that shit, and I will watch anything, sports animes. But I do tend to gravitate more towards stuff that's a little bit high paced.
I can do that too. I got my vibe.
Yeah, you just don't like to binge those, and I do because I can't stop watching them. So because some shit happens, and then I gotta be like, we gotta watch the next episode. Anyway,
I like the vibe, man. I just like vibing.
Yeah. So I just realized most of these are romance. I'm sorry. I totally called myself out from earlier.
These aren't mine. This is not my list. This is a list that she and I made together. So let's just. So I know what we just said. Let's clarify that now.
You're right. Shikamori's Not Just a Cutie again was like a romance where the main character is super fucking accident prone, like beyond this motherfucker is cursed. I mean, like literally, I don't know how someone has this bad of luck. And his girlfriend is so sweet and loves him so much that she literally has essentially trained to be like a ninja. We still don't know what the fuck happens with her yet. How she's such a total badass, but she's always saving him. Like all the time. It's very cute, wholesome. Watch it. Also, the animation is stunning. Like everything is so detailed and beautiful. Their hair has like a gradient in it, and their eyes are stunning, like super crystal. I've never seen like eyes so detailed. They're so pretty. And every time I look at these characters, I'm like, why are they so beautiful? Anyway, loved it.
Also, his mom.
Yeah, his mom is fine.
Oh, speaking of
MILFs. Going back to Longa's hot ass widow mom. Yeah, Longa's got a hot mom. Sorry. Okay, and then I had to talk about this was a anime movie that me and Justin watched. Words Bubble Up Like Soda Pop. Oh my god, did that movie make me fucking sob. Essentially, it's a movie on Netflix. Watch it. It's very wholesome. This girl is like an influencer and she's very insecure about her buck teeth. And so she's like always hiding her mouth, and she meets this boy and he likes her for who she is. And during this time they're trying to find this record from this song that they discovered. Not going to give away spoilers. It's very sweet, very wholesome. Music is great. Great vibes. I sobbed. Watch it. And then I have to talk about like some OG ones that like I know people are probably screaming at me like, why the fuck haven't you talked about this? But it's for obvious reasons, and I have this one specific one for a different episode that I'm going to be talking about, so don't shit on me. Ouran High School Host Club is an obvious one. I know so many people that's like their comfort anime. I love that anime too. It's a classic. How do you not talk about it? You already fucking know what I'm talking about. Anyway, go watch it. It's on, I think it's still on Netflix. Anyway, watch it. It's great. But I have that one for a different episode that I'll be going more in depth on. So don't hate me. And then a classic, which is one of my favorite animes of all time and was the first anime I ever watched, which is Sailor Moon. It is your classic magical girl anime where there's transformations. It's wholesome, love story, adorable. Great. Love it. Watch it if you haven't watched it. But don't watch Sailor Moon Crystal because that's trash. Trash. All right, guys. And I think that's everything on my freaking ginormous list of comfort animes. I know there's so many more, but these were just the ones that I could think of off the top of my head. If there's ones that I didn't mention, please put them in like the comments on our YouTube or any of our other socials. You guys know I love talking about anime. It's not the only thing I talk about, but it's my favorite thing to talk about because there's just so many different genres and it's just something I'm so passionate about. And so I'm always down to talk about new animes, watch them, give me recommendations. I'm always down to shit on an anime too if it's genuinely horrible. So if there's a horrible anime, I'm down to shit on it. Let me know, guys. As always, it's not easy being geeky. Make sure you check us out on all of our socials. Follow us. We got a dope community on Facebook. We're not on Twitter anymore because of all the crazy shit going on. So I don't want to deal with it right now. And honestly, Twitter's not my favorite platform, so I was totally okay to deactivate it. So right now we're not on Twitter, but we are on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, and Tumblr now. Hey, look at us. We're cool. We have a Tumblr. So now that Tumblr has resurrected itself from the grave, So check us out on all of our socials, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and leave us comments about what you guys want us to talk about next. Ring that notification bell because that's a thing now. So yeah, hopefully if you guys liked this, you guys let me know some other animes to talk about. I got a lot of fun stuff to talk about, and
Help
if you
us
guys,
help you.
Yes, let us know if you guys are down for me to just talk about all the sports animes I love. I totally love sports animes. There's so many that I love. I mean, I've talked about a couple already, like Yuri on Ice and Skate the Infinity and Salaryman's Club, Free. But if you guys want to deep dive into some of these, I'm so down. So let me know if you guys are interested. Love you guys. Thanks again for listening. See you next week.